guys, mysticrainn here. I'm having an abundance of thoughts, a lot of them channeled, and so I figured I would make a kind of sort of impromptu vlog, and you know it's impromptu because I didn't even brush my wig today, but I need to get it out before I either forget or overthink it or something, I don't know. But this great conjunction thing, I think, like, let's talk about it. And let's talk about the effects that it's having on people. You know, I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's supposed to be this really beautiful, magnificent event. And it is. It really is, right? But because so much of its purpose is to push out old stuff, old systems, old patterns of behaviors and thoughts and ideas, like, that means there's a foundation that had been built that has to crumble, right? Because you can't rebuild on cracked foundation. And so a lot of people are in a position where they just feel like they are falling apart, whether everything around them is falling apart, money is falling apart, maybe they've lost their job, maybe they've lost their home, it's the holidays, everyone is always really emotional around that time, maybe they are emotionally falling apart, mentally falling apart, and it's because you can't rebuild on cracked foundation. And this goes for all of us. And so every single one of us at this time is going to be challenged, right? With Spirit saying, who are you? Who do you want to be? What are you? What do you want to be? What do you want? And what are you willing to do in order to go get it? And I think that for today, it would be a really, really good idea for you. I'm saying this because it was channeled earlier today, and so I need to push this message out as fast as I can, is really take a moment today and tonight and identify what areas of your life you want to expand and what things in your life you want to create and then expand, and then what things in your life you want to get rid of, and make it be an honest conversation, right? Like, if you hate your job, if you are truly unhappy, you need to admit this to yourself. If you are in an unhappy relationship or an unhappy marriage, you have to admit this to yourself, because with these energies, things are going to get wiped. Things you no longer want are going to get wiped out, and new things are going to come into you. But you need to be honest with yourself when it comes to what it is that you want. And another thing that was channeled today too is make sure you start developing a habit of saying what you want out loud. You don't have to say it to somebody. You can say it when no one's home, right? If you're taking a shower, you can yell it in the shower, but you need to get into the habit of saying it out loud. And that was also a channeled message. And the reason for this, I feel like, one, it's being channeled because around this time people start doing vision boards, which is great. Continue to do your vision boards, right? Continue to cut it out, write it down, put it on paper. But because we're moving into a higher frequency, it's easier to manifest things from higher frequencies than it is to manifest in this dimension down here. It's very dense down here. And because we are ascending, the frequencies we're going into are actually lighter, which means things will manifest for you faster. And speaking, the energy is moving faster. So when you write something down, it works and it does manifest. It's just a slower manifestation process, right? You know, write it down. People have been writing things down for eons. You know what I mean? Put it on a piece of paper, burn it. It works. But with doing that, make sure you're adding the added component of actually saying what it is you want, right? And Spirit let me know that this is going to be really important because manifestation is going to happen faster than we're normally used to having it. With this, though, comes great responsibility in a sense of being mindful of what it is that you wish for, right? Which is why I'm saying have a really good, honest talk with yourself about what it is that you think you want, what it is that you don't really want anymore, and make sure you're saying it right. So, like, I'll give you an example, right? Like, if you want more money is the easiest example I can give. If you want more money, say out loud, I want money, just like that. I want money, but say it with conviction and practice it, because when that's not something you're used to saying to yourself, it's not going to feel right the first time you do it. The first time you say it, you may kind of say it in like a softer voice, like, yeah, I want money. And like, you could be home alone, right? But you'll be like, yeah, I want money. Yeah, that sounds okay. yeah, I want some money, right? And then every time you do it, because you're used to doing it and you're developing a new pattern, you're rewiring those neurons, you say it each time with a little bit more conviction, like, yeah, okay, yeah, money would some money would be nice. And then eventually you'll get to the point where, like, you'll say, I want money, damn it. Like, I said what I said, like, I want money, right? And saying it with conviction, the energy in that is stronger. It'll move though that frequency faster. Money will come to you faster. The things you want will come to you faster. Part of our issue when it comes to manifestation is that we identify what it is that we want and we do all the rituals for it. And please continue to do those rituals for it because they do work. I'm just saying there's a speed thing here, right? So we'll write it down, we'll say we want it, but we haven't claimed it. Yeah, like we haven't claimed it in our heart center, you know, like when you do magic on money, like you go, yeah, I hope I get some money, but you haven't claimed it. It doesn't live anywhere in your field. It doesn't live in that heart chakra. You haven't claimed it, right? And so when you start saying it out loud, I want money, and then allowing yourself to say it unapologetically, I want money, right? You create a higher frequency band. And I also want you guys to get out of the habit of saying things like, I want such and such because I deserve such and such, or I've earned such and such, or I'm worth such and such. Who cares, right? You think Jeff Bezos is sitting there saying, I want another yacht because I've earned a yacht? You think he's sitting there saying, I want another yacht because I deserve a yacht? I work so hard. No, he's going, I want another yacht, damn it. And that's the end of the thought, right? And so what we do in life, we have a tendency to create these equations that we can't solve, and we wonder why we're not getting what it is that we want. So if I go back to money, just because it's the easiest example and it's relatable for all of us, right? We have a tendency to create this equation of me plus money, or me plus worth plus deserve equals money. So the issue there is that now we have to solve the equation. Well, what happens if one day you wake up feeling a little bit bloated and you don't really like how you fit in your pants the next day or that day, and maybe your worth goes down a little bit? Or what happens if, like, you make a mistake at work and maybe that amount that you feel like you deserve, maybe that goes down a little bit? Or what is the amount of worth and the amount of deserve that you're supposed to have? A lot of these questions are unanswered, and then we wonder why we can't solve the equation, which is me plus worth plus deserve equals money. What would happen, right, if we just start canceling shit out? What would happen if you canceled out the part about worth, if you canceled out the part about deserve? Then that means me equals money. Look, that's an equation you don't have to solve because it solved itself. And it takes out all these additional variables that you've put into an equation that you didn't need, and it answers why you were never able to solve the equation. But if you canceled all of that stuff out, there's no longer an equation to solve. Next thing you know, you are money. And all of that stuff starts to come to you. And that is like this universal equation for almost everything. Whatever it is that you want, it's me equals. Me equals. Me equals. If you want a house, me equals house. That's it. Not me equals have to work really hard plus blah, like, no, just start canceling out all those variables. Simplify things. Simplify variables. So going forward, like if you feel yourself freaking out about something, say to yourself, is this an irrelevant variable? Can I solve the equation without this variable? And you'll see that you can solve the equation without this variable, right? And if you start approaching everything that you want, everything that brings you pleasure with the equation of me equals, then you'll start to realize that it's easier for you to get the things that you want. And going into this sort of new age with these heightened frequencies and energies, you want to start simplifying the equation as much as possible, right? Because we're coming out of a really dense period. So you don't need a dense equation. A lot of it is us having to kind of reframe the narrative on what we feel like we should be doing, and remember that is things that society has convinced you needs to be done, right? So society has found a way to convince us all, me included, because I have a very matrix job, right? That in order to make money and feed yourself and your family, that you should work ungodly hours, be abused at work, right? Be unhappy, just feel like you have to do it in order to feed yourself. Like, society convinces you these things. Society convinces you that you should work more than 40 hours a week to make a living wage, right? Society teaches you that you should be proud to work hard because it shows ethics. When the richest people in the world don't go to work. The richest people in the world, that top 1%, they don't work. None of them work. Yet they have found a good way to convince us that we should work to have anything. Right? And it makes sense, because the reason why they don't have to work is because we work. But that should show you that money and working hard are not linked, right? Or we say, well, I'm a good person. I deserve to have that. Why? Why does that have anything to do with it? We see some of the most crooked, corrupt people in the world, and they look like they've got everything. Right? All the money, all the houses, everything that you could need, they've got it. So what does that show you? It shows you that being a good person, being deserving of something, has nothing to do with money. Those two things aren't linked. So we have all of these examples in society about how none of those things are tied together. Then why do we keep tying them together and then questioning why we can't solve that equation? Because we've just created an equation that's unsolvable. That's why, right? Or we could just wake up and say, I want it, and that's it. Like, there is no discussion. I don't owe anybody a reason for why I want what it is that I want. I don't even owe myself a reason, right? Because if you start trying to justify it to yourself, then you talk yourself out of it. Or we fall back into this pattern of, well, I deserve it. Like, we have to get out of that space of feeling like you have to deserve anything. Like, who cares whether or not you deserve it? What matters is that you want it. We have to get out of the space of feeling like I have to earn it. Who cares whether or not you've earned it? What matters is that you want it. I'll give you another example. Let's use a pop culture reference. The Kardashians. I'm going to use the Kardashians because everyone knows who they are and it's the easiest. Look at Kendall Jenner. She is the highest paid supermodel in the world. And they even said that when she first started that career, that she used to get bullied by other models. And they used to all say to her, you didn't work to get here. Like, you didn't earn any of this. Yet you're walking in all the top fashion shows. You're making all the money, booking all the contracts. And we've been in the slums slaving it since 13 years old. And here you come because you felt like you wanted something to do that day. And you've snatched all the contracts out from under us. You're working in all the shows. You're the highest paid supermodel in the world. You think Kendall Jenner sat there in her room was like, I work so hard and I deserve to have all of this? No, she woke up and she was like, I want that, and therefore she got it. Now granted, she's got a whole team behind her and resources, but I would bet money on the fact that when Kris Jenner was negotiating her contracts, you think Kris Jenner was like, oh, okay, we'll settle for this amount, thank you for that, thank you for working. No, Kris Jenner was like, no, you're gonna pay her this. Why? Because we want it. That is the answer. Do you want it? And so when you start saying what you want out loud, what you're doing is claiming it. What you're doing is like going out to the universe. Picture the universe like a store, and everything you want is on a shelf. What you're doing is walking out to the universe and going, thank you, I want that, right? And stop negotiating with people on how much you have to do in order to get it. Like, people say, oh, the nice guys finish last. Maybe you shouldn't be so nice. I'm not saying going out there and like be a terrible person. You know what I mean? But what I am saying is, obviously, the way you have been doing it doesn't work. You know? And I have been a product of this pattern. From time to time, I fall back into the pattern. I got to remind myself and I got to crawl back out of it, right? Because it's a product of the program of the Matrix. But like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. We have been taught that we should earn things and that we should deserve things in order to have things, yet we have been working so hard and we don't have what we want. And our parents worked so hard and they didn't get what they wanted. And their parents worked so hard and they didn't get what they wanted. Yet we see Jeff Bezos sitting on a yacht while they're still kids in cages. So what does that tell you about the relationship between something like money or anything that you want and the need to deserve it. What does that tell you about it? It tells you that they don't go together, right? Like, you don't need both to solve the equation. So start canceling out that variable. Now the new equation is me equals. And start saying it out loud. And it may be something where you just have to practice. Like when you're by yourself and maybe you're in the kitchen and you're cooking, while cooking, be like, I want money. And maybe when you first say it, it'll be kind of like, oh, you know, right? But as you get used to saying it and as you get used to claiming it, it'll be easier to say. And then take it a step farther. Not just do I want money. I want to make double the money in half the time, right? Because we have to change our relationship when it comes to things that bring us pleasure and what it takes in order to experience that pleasure. You see, society teaches you that you have to work hard to be happy, that you have to work hard to experience pleasure, right? That's why there's this whole sort of propaganda that runs around that you have to work the majority of your life just to rest for the last few years of it, right? And we call that retirement. And we think that's normal. We think that's so normal, and it's not normal, you know? Like, why can't you make double the money in half the time? Society has convinced you that you should be happy making $45,000 a year, slaving away at a job, and taking care of an entire family on that salary. That you should be grateful for that. You should be grateful for that. That's bullshit. Why? Why should I be grateful for breaking my back? Why should I be grateful for making you money? You should be grateful for that. How about that? You can say you want to make double the money in half the time because people do it all the time. So going in to this new age, spend tonight asking yourself what it is that you're like, get honest, like what it is that you want, and allow yourself to say it. You don't have to believe it today, right? But because the energy is shifting in such a strong, powerful way, and as things are being pushed out while new things are being come in, as all of that new energy is coming in, you want to throw it out there so it catches a hold and it can like ride it, right? Like you want it to ride the wave, right? Just throw it out there. You don't have to believe it today, right? But why can't you make double the money in half the time? So many people do it. So many people do it. Why can they do it and we can't do it? Why can they do it and you can't do it? Like, you can't even answer that question because there's no reason. So, like, you can make double the money in half the time and that's what you want. So claim it. That's what I want. And don't go, I want to make double the money in half the time because, damn it, I deserve it. Who cares? Like, who cares? Like, deserving something, earning something, being worth something has nothing to do with whether or not you get it. We all know, in addition to ourselves, people that have worked so hard, people that are such good people who deserve it and never get it because it's not a part of the equation. It's not a part of that manifestation equation. You can't solve it with all those variables. So you have to cancel them out, right? So I think that going forward, a lot of what we're going to be doing, because so much of society is going to be reworking itself, right? Like reworking the paradigm, like reworking like structures and policies and ways of control. And okay, so because that's the energy that we are moving into, why don't we at the same time rework our own energetic structure, because those are the energies that we're working with anyway, right? So this way we can be efficient, right? And work our own structure and rewrite our own narrative of what we thought was possible for us, right? Come out of this space where it's not about just surviving. It's about experiencing the joys and the pleasures of life, right? Like, we have convinced ourselves that if we are fortunate, if we are one of the fortunate ones to reach a place in a career where we make enough money to support ourselves and our family, that is all that there should be, and we shouldn't ask for any more, or we shouldn't want any more. And so what happens is that you end up in these lives that we have convinced ourselves are comfortable, right? When really what it is just we're just sustaining. And we stop searching for things that bring us joy. And you wonder why all these people are walking around miserable. Like, the amount of people that come, they go, oh man, like, that person is so mean. Yeah, because they're miserable. Like, yeah. They haven't done anything fun in 10 years. They are miserable. Like, no wonder they're mean. Of course they're mean. How could you not be mean? You're uptight. You got a stick in your ass. Like, you're miserable. Like, duh, you know? And so going forward, if that's where you feel like you are, or if you've been having this feeling of like, I'm not particularly happy in my circumstance. And I know a lot of you that watch this video are going to be there because that is a collective experience. And it's a lot to do with the kind of rearranging and the frequencies and everything. We're all identifying things in our life that we feel like could definitely be tweaked or just completely thrown away entirely. Like, be real with what you want. Screw when it comes to what you feel like you deserve, right? Because it has nothing to do with deserving. Just what do you want? And then say it out loud and make sure you say it, because Spirit was like, you know, you got to let people know, right? Because it was a very intensely channeled message that like that going into this new age will bring them things faster. It will materialize faster. It will manifest faster if you say it out loud, right? So that is what we should be working on today, or tonight, or even in the coming days after December 21st, because we're still going to be working on those energies. And another thing, guys, I don't know if anyone has actually noticed this, but all of a sudden, this is supposed to be a wonder of the sky, and a lot of people are having issues with clarity. A lot of people have been experiencing cloudiness. They can't even see the sky. All right, so I just want to throw that out there, because I also think that that is, well, mighty convenient, if nothing else, right? And, oh, and another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is things that you may experience, right? So a lot of you guys may start experiencing ascension symptoms if you have not yet experienced it already. And I sense that that's going to have to be another video that I just go more in depth about when it comes to really what that means and like what you're going to be experiencing. But just, you know, in this particular sense, probably a lot of moodiness or just heavy or heightened emotions. But a lot of you are going to be getting like weird psychic crap that's going to be happening to you. A lot of your third eye is going to be opening, and you're going to be seeing spirits or like shadows out of the corner of your eye that are moving. Like yesterday, so December 20th, I was in a Publix. And for anybody that doesn't know, a Publix is a grocery store in the South. And I swear to you, I saw a cat in the produce section. And it like had somewhere to be. It was like running. And I remember and it ran past the bananas. And I remember with a hand on my, on a sweet potato, what? And it was one of those things where I had to do a double take. What the did I just see? And I look up and nobody saw this thing. Everybody's still shopping, picking oranges, and no one has noticed anything. And I was like, holy crap. I've been seeing spirits like it's no tomorrow, just there's so many of them, and so many kind of shadows out of the corner of my eye, right? My clear audience is crazy. They all have something to say. Most of these spirits that if you're experiencing this are ancestors. They're just chit-chatting away. And I've actually come across a couple of people that have said to me, hey, I think I'm seeing things. And I'm like, oh, yes, me too. It's part of that time. If that is something that you're dealing with, just know that, it's going to be a little bit heightened for a while, I would expect it to start dying down around the first week of January or so. But it's a very new experience, right? I'm also having the psychic flu, which I hate. The psychic flu is something I get with when there's real sort of intense energy shifts. So sometimes I get the psychic flu when I do a lot of readings in a row. But in this particular case, I woke up yesterday, which was December 20th, and I got a burp. Excuse me, it's all the air from talking to myself. Yeah. Ugh. My bad, you guys. I'm not gonna even edit that out. This video is gonna get no edits because I can't be bothered. At me in the comments, whatever, I'll delete them. What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Something about spirits and Ghouls, Ascension Symptoms. I was so sick yesterday. I woke up, my body was sore. You would have thought that I got hit by a Mack truck. And I remember thinking to myself, I couldn't really breathe. And I was like, oh my God, like I got COVID again, because I've actually had COVID. And then it dawned on me around 4 o'clock. I'm like, oh shit, bitch. Like, you're like, here we go with this Ascension shit. Every time I go through like an upgrade, I get very, 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 very sick. And then on the other side of that, my clairaudience gets better, my clairvoyance gets better, but I get very, very sick, and it's an energy shift. It's like all of a sudden I have all these blockages in my body that are trying to find their way out. And I was like, oh my God, like here we go again. But what that told me, I was like, there means that there are a significant amount of people that on this day are being unlocked, like awakened. And anyone for people that are new on their journey, even you are going to see new people that just woke up. Like you will have the ability to identify like, oh crap, like this person too, you know? And it is like really profound, because I was like laying there and I was like, wow, like there are more people starting to wake up, because, you know, it's something that I have the ability to sense, particularly when it happens in large numbers. And one thing about this whole kind of like dawn of the new ages is that I've always been, I mean, I know it's happening. I get forewarning that it's going to happen. Spirit tells me that it's going to happen before it starts to happen. But I'm always surprised about the mechanism or the way that it happens. They never give me that part, because Spirit likes to talk in riddles. I don't really know what that's about, but they do. You know what I mean? Like anybody that like Spirit always talks in riddles. Like they're like, in order to find out the answers that lie within the divine, you must first seek the answers that lie within. Like it's ridiculous. Like I just can't. Like I'll be like, all right, Susan, I'll come back. Like who has time for that? Like I don't have time for that. But they speak in riddles, and so I never always know like how it looks. But yesterday I was like, oh my God, like these people are waking up in sheer numbers. Like the shift is going to be insane, and you're gonna see so many people that start popping up as advisors and teachers, like people that got there's powers. Like I know there's definitely a thing in the Black community, a joke that's going around about how we all get our superpowers today. But like people are really going to be just activating, and they're going to have it. They're just going to be fully psychic. They're just going to know. Their intuition is going to be on point. Like they're just going to know, right? Or people that aren't going to need to be trained as heavily as some other people that may need to be. Kids, by the way, you guys, we're getting a new generation of like rainbow children. I may have to make a video on like what that means, but there are always generation of like rainbow kids, or like crystal children, or indigo children. That was the latest one. That would be like the millennial generation. And every time this generation comes in, it's a generation of like really woke souls that come in maintaining a lot of their intelligence, and they stay closer to the veil. They don't necessarily remove or go so far away from the veil as we do. And so like you're gonna be seeing so many of these kids now being born, like these little kids that we have. Like Gen Z is already woke, right? Like they're already there. Gen Z is an incredibly conscious generation, but I'm talking like the ones after them, those kids, like the babies that are being born now, women that are pregnant now, so like the babies that are currently in women's bellies, I'm talking about those kids. Like we're getting a brand new wave of rainbow children. There's not a name for them yet. Rainbow crystal, I know rainbow is already claimed. Crystal children's already claimed. Indigo children are already claimed. I don't think there's a word for that, but they're like these kids. It's a brand new wave. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be crazy. It's a brand new wave. Highly, highly sensitive, super, super developed, really, really intelligent. Like we're really getting a new wave of souls that are really gonna kind of push this planet and propel this planet forward into like a new sort of higher frequency. And man, when I tell you it's going to be a show, it's gonna be a show. Honestly, it's gonna be a whole show. So like, God, this is ginger. Jesus, went right up my nose, into my throat. But it's gonna be crazy. Like, oh my God, it's one of those things, it's gonna be so crazy because it's so magnificent. It's gonna be like, and like you're gonna witness it and just be in awe. And even I'm like so excited about it, but there's a lot of work to be done, right? Like there's a lot of prep that has to be done, and you need people who are here to help support that lift. Like a lot of souls that are waking up and a lot of souls that are being born are here to support that lift. So you got the souls now, our spiritual teachers now, and our spiritual teachers that are just being activated literally today. Those people are going to be the people that are helping with the transition and pushing it forward, right? Those are the people that are helping to like push out the sludge in order to usher in this new age. And then these children that I'm telling you, and you're going to hear about it, like, oh, these new kids, like these really highly sensitive kids that are being born today, those are going to be the ones who's tasked to clean up everything that we missed, right? And then like, and it's a massive, massive, massive collective effort to kind of get this planet and get the species up to where it needs to be, because this is a really like low, as humans, in my opinion, we're not very evolved. And that's really hard for like people to hear, but we're the only species that can burn down our habitat and then be proud of it, right? Like we're the only species that can knock down our habitat and pat ourselves on the back for it and think that we deserve something. Right? We're the only species. We don't know how to share. Every species on Earth, they share. There is community. There is collaborative effort, right? We don't even know how to share. We have no idea how to share resources. Like we're very poorly evolved as a species. And we're going to be seeing a lot of help from activated souls now, new souls being born. And then also we're going to have a lot of sort of extraterrestrial, planetary intervention as well. And like, yeah, I'm talking about aliens, but like not the government aliens, because there are otherworldly beings, but it's hard to talk. Like, I don't like saying aliens. I use the word aliens because I know that that's the word you understand. But aliens for me is just a word created by the government to freak people out, right? Like there are plenty of other species and federate like and I can make a video on that too. I know, because I'm actually I can do that too. But time for another video. And so we're gonna get a lot of assistance. We're going to be seeing a lot of assistance. And also during this time, I want you guys to be mindful of people that are going to start calling you crazy. And I want you to be mindful about how often you now hear the word conspiracy theorist, right? That's going to be cute and new. That's going to be a resurgence, right? It's going to be the government's last ditch attempt to try to shut people up, right? Conspiracy theorists, conspiracy theories is what they're going to start calling people now. Even just like regular people that just happen to be incredibly spiritual like me, people are now going to start calling them conspiracy theorists. People that don't want to take the vaccine, conspiracy theorists, right? Like, so just be mindful of that, because that's also coming too. Like, watch because now that I'm pointing it out, you're going to start to notice, watch the battle of the frequencies like really kick off. And because we're moving into an age of information, humanitarian, but also information, you are going to be bombarded every which way possible with new information, and it's going to scare the crap out of you, right? And because that information is going to be coming out of the media, right? Or coming out of the government, coming out of the powers that be. None of it's really going to be all that positive. It's going to be issues with humanity, right? People that are being used, abused, tortured, because that's part of the age that we're coming into. It's part of the sludge that we have to clean up. You're going to be seeing that information everywhere. You turn on the TV, it's there. You open your laptop, it's there, right? You're scrolling on your phone, it's there because it's in an ad, right? By the way, anybody hear about that terms and conditions thing for Instagram that goes in effect December 21st today? Which is essentially a big way of saying, yeah, you have no privacy and we're watching everything that you're doing, which honestly, I'm kind of shocked that people are shocked, because like Instagram is Facebook and Facebook is Mark Zuckerberg, and like we know this already. Like we know that they listen to everything and they watch everything that we do. So I'm actually kind of shocked that people are shocked, but like whatever, you know, it is significant that it's on the 21st. Why would you pick, like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you pick the 21st? You could have picked the first of the year, right? We don't have that many days to go, right? Like, or you could even pick the first of the month. Who implements new policies on the 21st of a month? Who does that, right? When you want a new policy, you usually begin it at the first of the month, right? Like, but you're picking the 21st. So I'm just saying, like, start watching how it's gonna be one beautiful game of smoke and mirrors. Just start watching it. You'll be thoroughly entertained. Anyway, I am over myself now because this was very much a random thing that I was like, I gotta get it out. I gotta tell all the people, and now I'm over myself. So I'm gonna end that there. Food for thought. But action items, marching orders. Make clear tonight what it is that you want, claim it. What it is that you don't want. If you want to write it down too, that's fine. But make sure you say it out loud. Claim it. Claim it. Claim it. And be specific with your wish, okay? Because no take backsies. All right, guys. Talk to you later.